Hello again, crafty friends. Nancy back again trying another video. As I said in my first video, I don't have the time or inclination right now to figure out how to edit videos, so we are doing Make With Me cards instead right now. So we'll see how that goes for a while. And I think I figured out my shtick, my reason for being here. I'm going to show cards more often than not following challenges that I found on the internet. I will tell you what the challenge is. By the time I post the video, they may be out of date, but you might find some new to you challenges. I really enjoy playing with challenges. It gives me a jumping off point for my creativity. Sometimes, like right now, I am really struggling right now to be creative and come up with ideas. So following challenges is a good way to have something to start with that you can then make your own. So for today's video, I am using the Papercraft Crew Vertical Sketch Challenge, which is challenge number 504. It's a great sketch if you want to go have a look at it. It features an oval up in the front there. So we'll play along here and see what we can do. I've planned out part of the cards so far, but not all of it. So part of it will be a process video of how I figure things out. Part of it will be just me putting things together. So I'm starting out with this 4 1/4 by 3 inch piece of cardstock, white, that I've cut an oval shape out of the center to create a frame. And what I want to do first is I want to add some pattern paper behind it. And I've cut the pattern paper the exact same size, and I want to make sure that I get it centered on here properly so that, there's not, a little teeny tiny bit of it hanging out or anything like that. Not super important, but I wanted an excuse to show you this trick that I do. So we're gonna put some adhesive on the sides of this. I want to leave around the oval itself open because I'm planning on tucking something kind of in there a little bit, so I want to be able to do that. The way I like to do this is I take out my Score Buddy and I put my one layer, my lower layer, right up into the corner. You could also use your MISTI for this. And then I take my top layer and do the exact same thing right up into that corner. Make sure it's good before I burnish everything down, because like I said, with this ATG tape, it's got some give time. You can actually pull things apart and be able to reposition. But this is the best way I have found to kind of get things lined up. So I'll use this a lot. I like this because it's got all the measurements up here too. So if I was, say, digging into my book of extra, or my bin of extras, if I wanted a strip here, which I don't on this card, but if I did and I wanted it a 1/2 inch in, I could put adhesive on this and then line this up and put it on, or I could put it right along the edge, or I could even do it this way if I wanted, but I know that that one edge is flush and it should now be straight going on. So let's just tuck this out of the way. The reason I have my bin of extras out is I wanted to show you I'm actually using some stuff out of my bin of extras. I cut these flowers, oh gosh, probably in the summertime. And they've been sitting in here waiting for a project. So anything that is kind of usable, like these strips, especially strips of glitter cardstock, because you don't want to waste that stuff, or at least I don't want to. I made a card a year ago and I cut some extras of this with my silhouette, didn't want to get rid of it. The foiled butterflies, they make a ton all at once. Same with the, what do you call it? The washi tape sets from Pink Fresh Studio. Those make a bunch at a time. So I've got anything that's kind of usable, I put into this bin, set it off to the side, and I try to grab out of it every once in a while. I try to make cards using what I can out of this. Some of the pieces will end up just getting thrown out because I don't like them, but I try to keep what's usable. All right, so out of there, I had grabbed these 2 flowers, and I kind of thought about, oh, maybe I got this. Oh, there we go. Trying to get them kind of tucked in here a little bit, just to create some overlap and interest. And I think I like that. So I'm going to glue this green one down first, once again with my liquid adhesive for something like this. If you've got a good glue, you shouldn't see any bubbling or wrinkling when you use glue, but the key to using glue is a little goes a long way. It's a liquid and this is paper, and you know that they don't mix very well, right? So let's be careful how much glue we use. So I'm just gonna tuck this kind of like that, push it down, make sure it gets stuck, and then I'm gonna glue up my other flower here. Bunch of little dots. Just to give lots of points of contact. And I want to try, see if I can do this, to get at least one of those petals tucked underneath. Yeah. Because there's a camera rolling, I'm having trouble. There we go. I just find it gives some interest to have things kind of tucked around like that. Not exactly how I wanted it, but it will work. All right, so we're gonna close up that fine tip just so that my glue doesn't dry out. I use one of these Make It by Marco stands for my glue. I like, especially as the glue is getting closer to being empty, I like having the glue down at the tip. It saves me time and frustration trying to get glue where I need it to be. So we're gonna move that out of the way because if you know me, you know I'm about to use my Perfect Layers tool, also known as the We Are Memory Keepers Layers Guide. If you're looking for it currently, as Perfect Layers no longer creates their tool. In fact, I don't even think they're in business anymore. And you know what, let's change things up again. Let's not use that 1/16. We'll use a 1/8 inch, I think, today, which is the next size up. So you can see here, 1/8, although it looks the same almost forwards and backwards. If you check the 3.2 millimeters there, you can tell that it's the 1/8. And again, there's that little lip there that I'm just going to be catching on my layer here, and then using my X-Acto knife and cutting along. It's got a metal edge in there, so cutting along that edge. And we're going to do the same thing on all four sides. I love having my self-healing cutting mat down here to always available to be pulled into use. But I don't like stamping on it. I really like stamping on this Stampin' Up! Pad of paper. Just get a little bit of give, raises my work surface up by like, I don't know, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch. And I don't know, it just makes a difference for me. I just personally really, really like working on it. You can see here, I obviously cut off or didn't cut quite correctly there. I don't know if you can you tell? It goes up at the edge here. So I'm just gonna bring my tool back in and fix that real quick before I glue anything down or tape anything down, because it won't be fixable later. And that is that. So let's pull this surface back in. And once again, the Score Buddy comes out. I like to put a little bit of the oils from my finger along that 5.5 inch mark and just drag my scoring tool down, flip it over, because you always want to make sure that the part that you have scored is the outside, that stretches the fibers so that they don't crack. And put things together, and another bone folder of your choice. I like this shape for this, just to burnish those edges down. And let's see what... So I could, it looks like, I've got another tool here that I could use. 3¼ by 4.5 is what this is measuring out to be. So I'm just gonna grab, my friend makes these, they're called Frickin' Square Corners. They are a great tool for kind of figuring out, or to get things kind of lined up properly. I'm just gonna grab the right size here, and we're gonna do some adhesive on the back. We're gonna put the card front down on the Score Buddy. And now, instead of trying to figure out and get this straight all on my own, I'm gonna use my Frickin' Square Corner. I've also seen them made by another company that sells them on Etsy, if you were interested in them. They're just acrylic corners cut to different sizes that help you get things straight and even. And that just helps things get lined up a little bit better. So tuck all of this stuff out of my way. Now the last thing we need, according to the sketch challenge, is I need a sentiment up here. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. So probably going to use a sentiment strip of some sort. So let's see if there's anything in my bin of extras that might work. I think that's too big. Oh, that maybe. It could be a baby card, couldn't it? I'm so glad you were born. I'm not a big fan of that. Here's to many more. That one I don't mind. Happy anniversary. All right, so I think I like this one the best out of those, but do I like it enough? I don't know. So the other thing I like to do is I like to pull out different sentiment strips sets when I'm doing things like this, just kind of get a feel for size and what looks good. And I have another thought. What about something that actually just fits right in that spot, like this Make-A-Wish? Do we maybe just want to go with that? This is sometimes the hardest part of a card, is figuring out what you want to do for a sentiment. I think I like this more than the strip at this point. So let's get my bin of extras out of the way. And I'm going to pull out the Misty again. I said this in my last video. I honestly didn't think, as a stamper of 20 some odd years, that I would ever need a Misty. So I didn't get it for the longest time. I use this thing with almost every single card I make. The other tool I use most often is my Perfect Layers, the 1/16 inch. These are the two things I use the most in my craft space. One other thing, tweezers. Those are the things I use absolutely on pretty much every card I make. So I'm just gonna pull this down so I can see a bit better, get this placed where I think I want it, close the hinge and pick up that stamp. And I'm gonna grab my VersaFine Claire Nocturne, ink up my stamp. Now, the key to stamping, especially a sentiment or anything that's detailed, is you don't want to press too hard. You just kind of want to go in there and do that. You can see I got it missed a little bit with the K and the E, so let's give it another little bit, and that looks way better. So, and there we go. That is pretty much done. I think maybe, though, we want a little bit of bling or something on those, the fronts of those flowers, the centers of those flowers. So I'm just digging through my bin or my drawer of bling bling here. And I'm gonna grab these Studio Katya sparkling crystals. They're one of my favorites. Put a few in here just to make them easier to grab. Again, I don't know if you saw that. Put out a few more. I do this with this one. This tray's got these ridges in it. This way, all of those pieces end up being right side up for me, or flat side down, I guess is more the key. I like how these circles are going to mimic the circles in the pattern paper that I used. So again, with the art glitter glue, and I'm going to grab my jewel picker, a little dab of glue in the center, and as you can see, that glue, you can see it because these are clear gems, but that glue dries clear, so you don't have to worry about it. You won't notice it once it's dry. All right, so that is it. Now, the one thing I think I could have done maybe a little bit differently with this card that could have been fun is raised this white panel up on foam tape instead of just directly against that pattern paper piece. It would have added some dimension and made it a little bit more fun. However, you would have wanted to make sure you stamped that greeting on there first if that's what you were going with, because you wouldn't be able to stamp with the foam adhesive back there. And the Perfect Layers don't work quite as well with foam adhesive. In fact, I struggle with them, period, with foam adhesive layers. So I would have had to have planned things differently to do the card, to have done the foam on this top panel just to create some depth there. I hope you like it, and let's just see if I can keep this video thing going. Have a great day.